Just a second. Now, okay. So before we start, let me give my introduction. My name is Gaurav. I am doing PhD from VGSOM IIT Kharagpur under Swagata sir. Now, today in this session, we will be learning very basic things about Jupyter and Python. Okay. So first, I think sir has mailed you about installing Anaconda, right? So most of you have already downloaded and installed. Is there anyone who is facing issues in installing Jupyter? Anyone? Earlier, someone was saying that someone
Yeah,
is.
I got up this cycle here. So
Yeah,
if
yeah.
yeah, I am facing the issue. So what basically happened was that I installed it,
Okay.
but it's only in the program and files, so it's not coming in the desktop. Nothing is coming in there.
Okay. Program file. Okay. So let me see. You have already installed, right? Everything is installed, right?
Yeah,
So is it showing Jupyter Notebook in your system?
just let me check once.
Yeah. Please check. Okay. I will close all the connection, previous connection. Just a second. Okay. So
No, it's not
yeah,
doing.
yeah. Show me.
No, Gaurav, it's not showing. So I'm sorry, I cannot share the screen because I'm doing it in a separate laptop. I'm
Okay.
listening
Okay.
to the
Okay. Okay. Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Okay. For now, what you can do, you can just listen. It's not
yeah,
that.
sure, I will do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I think. Okay. So yeah.
Gaurav, actually, the Jupyter thing was not shared with us, I
No.
believe.
Actually, in Anaconda package, all
Uh-huh.
all the three things are there. Anaconda itself is there. Jupyter is there. Python is there. So all
Okay.
the things get installed in Anaconda itself. So you don't
Okay.
need to install all these other things separately.
So separately, that's
Yeah,
fine.
if you installed Anaconda, Python will be there, Jupyter will be there, even Spider will be there, which
Okay.
will not be used, but only Jupyter will be used.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so let me start with Jupyter. Okay, so I'm just opening.
Gaurav,
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is Sunil here. So
yeah,
the Jupyter, we can open that on Chrome, right? I mean, I can see the same
yeah,
screen what you shared earlier.
yeah. It will be open in your default web browser mostly. Okay, in Chrome or Safari, whichever you are using, it will be open in a browser itself. Okay,
Okay,
I will
yeah,
just give you a
thanks.
demo. Okay, so I am
Yeah.
opening this Jupyter Notebook in Windows system. Others who have Macintosh or Linux system, there the things will be a bit different. Okay, but you have to open. So whenever you click on Anaconda, a local server like thing will be open. Okay, so this thing will open, and here you can see this thing will also open. All right, so this is like it is creating a local server. Okay, all the things which will do, it will be saved in your local system, like your computer, right? All the files will be there. Okay, so this is like a local server only. It's not like it's running in somewhere else. Okay, everything is running in your system only. So you can minimize it. Now this is how Jupyter interface, or mostly Jupyter notebook, looks like. Okay, okay. Now here, this Jupyter notebook, it's something like File Explorer only. Okay, mostly. So in File Explorer itself, you can see some folder names and everything, right? So wherever you want to create your working directory, right? Somewhere in the desktop or documents, right? Somewhere you have to create working directory where you will keep all the files, right? So let's say you are creating, let's say I prefer on documents. So in documents, here what you can do, you can click on new, right hand side, you can create a new folder. Okay, you can write it and you can even rename it. Okay, renaming option is also there, just click on it and I think you can rename also. Okay.
Left side.
Yeah, left side. Okay.
Just select it on title folder, rename.
Yeah, rename. So what you can write Python basics or Python program or something like this. Okay, so it's your folder is there where all your Python scripts will be there. Okay, after creating it, again
But
what you can,
a little slower. Let them do. A little slow.
Okay, sir. Okay. Now this is your working directory. Whatever you will do, everything you can do in this folder itself. So you don't need to search that where your file, where are all your files and everything. Okay. So after creating this particular folder, what you can do, you can click on new and click on new Python notebook. Okay, you can click on new and Python notebook. Okay, so if you click on Python 3, a separate tab will open. Okay, where you will see a terminal like things like this. Okay, here your file name will be there, right? Let's say I'm writing Python basics day 1. Okay, day 1. This is my Python file. Okay, whatever I write here, they will run here only. Okay, now whenever I write all these things, after doing this, I can save it, right? I can save it using save as, or even save at a particular time. I can make some checkpoints. Okay, that I have done a particular part, and after that I'm doing something else, like some experimental all. So maybe some code needs like some modification, everything. So at least this part is confirmed. So you can save and do checkpoints also. Okay, and after doing everything, mostly two things are very important. One is you can download the file as .py file, and another thing is download it as a notebook. So if you download it as a notebook, all your codes, okay, it will give you more information. Like let's say these are all the tabs. Okay, this is one tab. Again, all these things will open one by one. But if you save it as a Python file, direct Python file, all the tabs, separate tabs, these things won't be included. Only your code will be included, right? Whatever things which will get run after you run the code, or something which will show you, I will show in some time. Okay, these things will be there. So now this is basically here we are basically working in on Jupyter platform. Okay, and here what we are doing, we are writing codes or anything related to Python. Okay, here a few things are there which is important, like this run function, run a particular cell, these cells. Okay, or these things, whatever we do, they will run in a kernel. It's a kernel thing. Kernel means whatever you are whichever input you are passing through the system, okay, it will run in your PC. Okay, this is kernel. Now this Jupyter notebook, this is a very interactive computer environment, right? Here we can write codes and do all the code sharing and everything, right? It's basically this name Jupyter, it is combination of 3 programming language, Julia, Python, and R. Okay, basically it was created for all these three things, but later on other coding languages were also included. But here we'll only be using for Python only. Okay, now in this notebook, we can write live codes, right? We can share with other people. Rich text environment is there, image and everything we can do. So this Jupyter, this thing is included in Anaconda package. So when you have installed the Anaconda package itself, this Jupyter was installed, and before that Python was also installed, right? If you do it separately without Python installed in the background, you won't be able to run it, right? So Python, everything is there in the package. That's why you don't need to do anything for now. Okay, now this is about Jupyter notebook, right? Now here we'll be writing code for Python, right? Now Python, what is Python? Python is a programming language, right? High level programming language. We'll write codes here, right? It's like a simple, what we'll do with Python, right? We have so many other languages also. So there are some advantages, disadvantages, some pros and cons of a particular language. So with Python, what we can do, we can create softwares, we can write some scripting things, or all the things which we'll do here, right? With Python, you can create web application also. Some web application like, let's say, Dropbox, YouTube, and many other things, they were created using Python language only. Okay, you can run this particular Python course on different platforms, Windows, right, Macintosh, or Linux system, and some other system. Okay. Now Python is mostly like writing English language. Okay, if you ask this particular question to a very good programmer or some, they will say it's a very easy language, right? For others, they will say, okay, it's a programming language, but for a good programmer, they will say it's like writing simple English. That's why most of the people they prefer Python. Okay, not anyone can become a programmer, right? But they can write codes, everything. Few things, if things are easy, then it's good, right? Anyone can code, right? For this purpose only, Python like language, Python and R, these languages, they were created, right? So mostly it's about readability is important, right? And one other thing which is one or two other thing which I want to talk about, it's mostly about related, which is important because it's a interpreter based language. Okay, you have other languages like C, C++. In those languages, whenever you write a code, like let's say tens of, hundreds of lines of code is there. So what the system will do, what this particular kernel will do, it will compile entire line of code, thousands of lines of code to the programming language, to the machine language, let's say binary, and then computer will run it. But in Python, what will happen? It will run line by line. So maybe a line or maybe multiple lines are there, right? So line by line, it will change, it will convert to machine language, then the code will run. So it's a bit slow, but it's very efficient process, right? Whenever you do debugging and everything, right? Line by line, you will run the code, every cell you will say, okay, this is fine. Here you are facing issue, you will rectify it, then you can move on, right? So moving on, let's say simple thing. Here you want to write something, right? Let's say you want to create some variable or anything. You are writing a equal to 5, right? Let's say equal to 5. And if you want to run it, so simply you have written a equal to 5 and you have run it. Here what it is showing? Run cell. To run the cell, select the below item. So to run a particular cell, I can click on run. What alternative I can do? I can also press in keyboard shift enter, right? Both will do the same thing. If I do control enter, this cursor, this particular cell will run. Okay, this code will run, but the cursor will remain in the same cell. So if you don't want to do anything, just select the particular cell and run it. So it has already run, right? Now here what happened? You have written a equal to 5. So a particular variable, a variable name a is created. Okay, and if you want to know its value, what is the value? Is 5. This is the output which is showing, right? So whenever you pass something, okay, now if you simply write 5 and if you want to run it, what will happen? 5 will there, okay, 5 will run, but is it being stored somewhere? It means you write something, some XYZ things, and it will get lost. So if you want to save something, you have to create some variables, right? You have to store those values in those variables. So here in Python, all these things, whichever you want to do, mostly you want to save it for later purpose, right? You will again call a to do some particular stuff, right? That's why these variables you will do. Now moving on, some very basic thing, which is we call it expressions, right? What are the expression? You know, right? Expressions are like plus, right? You all know all the stuff, plus, minus, or some blah blah blah, XYZ. So many things, so many are there. So all the expression you can do. If you simply want to do multiplication, you can simply write 5 multiplied by 4, or let's say 4. If you want to run it, it will simply show you 20. Now if it would have been other programming language, let's say C or C++, then you would have to first declare a particular variable first, then in those variables, let's say integer or float, you have to assign these two values, then do all the calculation and stuff. Here you don't need to do all these things, right? That's why this Python thing, this become very easy. Now if you want to save it, you can simply save it using some variable name and equal to, and this thing will be saved. If you simply want to do modulus, okay, you simply want to do divide, what will you do? Okay. Yeah, these things are there. So there are so many expressions, mostly plus, minus, and star, right? Star is for multiplication, right? This is for divide, and all the expression things you can do here. Now after doing learning expressions, one thing which is very important in Python, which is for indentation. Now indentation, let me zoom it. This is enough, right? Let me see. Okay, indentation. What is this indentation, right? here when Python was developed, okay, people thought that there are multiple lines are there in particular code. Let's say you want to write a particular loop, and or you want to write some if statement, right? Let's say if you want to write if, simply I'm not making it very complicated. If 3 is greater than 2, then what you will do? You should print that. Okay, so just a second. This is print function, right? If you want to write something, if you want to print something, simply write print, and you can write anything. When you run it, all the things which is inside, it will get printed. If you write any variable, print a, it will give you the value of a, right? Simply something like this. So here in indentation, print, what will you can print? Say 3 is higher than 2, right? This thing we want to do. So if I want, if I run it, it will get run because 3 is greater than 2, right? So 3 is higher than 2, it got print. But you did not notice what I did. I put some indentation. Indentation can be a simple space or a tab or anything. Here to differentiate between these two lines. Okay, this one and this line. These two lines, they are not separate. Okay, this is multi-line code, you can say. So when I want to differentiate that, this thing will only get printed when these things get executed. If you simply write something like this, right? Let's say if you remove this, if you run it, it will simply say indentation error, expected an indented block, because this thing will expect that you are writing something inside. Okay, so whenever you are writing some loops and everything, so blocks of codes are there. So some codes, they need to be written inside, right? These things, after writing this thing, you cannot write outside. You have to give something, some statement you have to give. If 3 is greater than 2, what should I do? Here you are moving to next line, but you cannot do something like this. You have to, even if you press just a simple space, it will run. It won't give you any error. Mostly you should prefer a tab, so that a simple good looking code will be there, right? So this indentation, you have to be very careful when you run the program, right? Now here I did something, right? I was doing this. What I did, I have written expressions and all this stuff, right? But if I write all these things, right? Right? If I write all these things without doing anything, it will give me some error, right? Why? What I did, right? It is not important, but I want to write it. So what I can do, I can comment it using this hash. It will get commented. So this particular line of code, this won't get run. Compiler will say, even if it is important, not important, whichever garbage you write, garbage may be important, but whichever things you write after hash, it will be considered as a comment. Okay, it's a single line comment. It's a single line comment. Right? If you want to write multiple line of comment, you can use triple comma, 1, 2, 3. Okay, here inside whatever you write, you can write anything, multiple lines, but you don't have to specify each and every line that this is a comment. If you run it, it will simply get run. Right? So this thing is also there. It's not important, but mostly a single line of code, right? In many times we'll write multiple lines of queries and everything, and inside it we want to write something to remember, or maybe to specify that this particular thing we want to write for this purpose itself. Okay, so to comment, what you have to do, you have to simply write hash. It is used for what? Comments, right? It's very simple, and it's as simple as that, right? Now, okay, can I clear it? What I can do, I can simply do restart and clear output. So whichever output will be there, these things, okay, all the outputs, right? This output, whichever things I have done, everything got deleted. Now I want to write some particular thing. Let's say I will say the value of x equal to 4. Okay. I will say the value of x equal to 5. Both of these things, they are different, right? Because variables, if you write if they're it's a small x and capital X, right? So if you simply say print x, will it give you error? What it is given? 4. But if you say print capital X, right? So in variables, right? In variable names, right? In variable names, lower the case matter. So it's a case sensitive, right? Case sensitive, right? Simply. So you have to be very careful. And when you write variables, many times you will use some names, right, which are very big. So you can use some particular structure. One structure which most people use, which is camel casing. In camel casing, if you want to say this is my variable name, first of all, this cannot be your variable name, right? It has to be start with, it cannot start with a number name, right? It cannot start with something like this. It can start with it. No, there cannot be any space, right? You cannot use things like this. You can use underscore, okay? But here in camel casing, the first letter of each word will be capital. So this kind of variable names, when the variable name itself is big, so what you should do, okay, if you want to write it like a clean code, right? So it's understandable, it's readable, it looks good. So you have to do something like this, okay? So if I simply say my variable name equal to 1, and if you want to print it, will it print? Let's see. Simply say print my variable name, will get printed, right? Earlier I have printed x, now I have printed my variable name. It's as simple as that. Now one more thing is there. Let's say I have to assign multiple variables. Okay, I want to write x equal to this, y equal to this, z equal to this. Okay, let's say I want to write x equal to 2, or let's say x equal to 3, y equal to 3, and z equal to 3. All these things also here in Python, not in small x, okay, not in C or other language. You can simply write something like this: x equal to y equal to z equal to 3. You don't need to write all these things. You can say what's the value of x. Okay, if you simply say x or anything, let's say y. Okay, so here in variable name, you can assign multiple variables in a single statement, right? If those things are equal, you can assign it without an issue. It can be like this integer name 3, or let's say a particular name, let's say banana. Banana is there, right? I don't want to write it 3 times. So if I run it, you simply give me banana, right? Now moving on, now we'll focus on data types, right? What is data types, right? That we did few stuff just before it, but we did not know what we did, right? Let's say I have assigned x equal to 4, but what data type is x, right? I have not assigned that x is an integer, it's a float or anything, right? So in data type, if I want to know a particular type of a variable, so what I do, I can simply say print the type of x. Okay, in type you can write a particular variable name. So if I run it, it will say it's a string. We have not assigned what's the value of x. Okay, it simply took it as a string. How can it can take it as a string, right? We thought value of x is 4, but it is taking x equal to. So here the casting will come. The compiler will consider it and do the operations as per requirement. Okay, it's a dynamic thing. So I will come to that, but on data types, first we have numeric data types. Numeric data types. What are all the numeric data types? In numeric data types, we have integer, right? Integer. We have float, and we have complex also, right? So I simply want to write, and say I've written x, again I will, if I use x, it will overwrite the previous x. Okay, if I want to write, if I write x equal to integer of 5. So here we are forcing the compiler to take value of 5 as an integer, right? If we don't force it, it can take integer also, it can take string also. But here, if we force something like this, then value of x will be, if I will say take this 5 as a float, okay, we'll see the difference, okay, in a minute. You will say take the value of z, okay, as string also, str, right, str, string also. It's a string data type, it's not numeric data type, but you can simply write also. Here you can write another variable for complex without minding anything. Let's say zz equal to complex value 5. Now if you want to print all this stuff, right, now what are the data types they have, right? Let's say xc, okay, I'm writing multiple lines, I'm changing it x, y, z, and double z. Okay, here I have given data types. I want to print the data type of x, then y, then z, then zz. Okay, if I select this particular cell, if I run it, what it is given, it will give you some error and everything, right? Type of x, z, okay, okay. So I have not run this particular cell. Now I run it. Now I am running this. Now it will give, right? What is the class of x? It is an integer. What is class of y? Right? It's a float. Similarly for z and zz. So it's like forcing, we are forcing the compiler to take integer values. We are forcing the compiler to take float value of 5. So if I print y, or simply if I write y, it won't give me 5, it will give me 5.0. If I print z, it won't give me z, right? It will give you some, you won't be able to see this thing is there, right? It is taking it, it is taking it as a character, or it's a string. Okay, now here let's take one another example of, okay, complex thing we do, right? So if I would have taken something like this, let's say c equal to 4 plus 5j, if I have written something like this, okay, and if I want to run that, what is the type, okay, if I can also write something like this without doing anything, it will also give me, right? I don't explicitly, if there are multiple statements, okay, then you have to write print, otherwise whichever thing it is printing, it will get lost, okay. But if I'm printing a single statement, then you don't need, you can forget to write print, but it's a good practice to write print. So here automatically the compiler, it has taken value of c as a complex. It is assigned that c is a complex. I have not said that you should take it as a complex value, but it is assigned. So things like this happen. So now if I want to write explicitly, let's say I want to change y to integer, right? Can I do that? I can say that give me the integer value of y. Y is a float value, right? 5.0. But if I want to write say float, I will change it to 5.6, you will see the difference, right? 5.6 is there. Now I want to know the integer value of this particular y. What it is given, it is able to change, right? It is able to change y to an integer. But if I want to know the integer value of c was a complex, right? Can I convert it explicitly? No. It's called type error, right? You cannot convert a complex object to an integer, right? So some conversions are possible, okay. Explicitly you cannot convert everything from integer to float is possible, integer to string is possible, right? But some, you cannot convert every string to an integer. It's a logical statement, right? So these things you have to be very careful about these things. They are very basic stuff, nothing let's say it's not anything complex. It's a basic mathematics, or you can say basic logic, okay. For other programming there might be some plus minus things, some difference will be there, but here you are writing some English, okay, writing some statement and you are getting the output. So things like this will happen and you have to be very careful. Okay, this thing is not possible. Why it is not possible? Because you cannot convert an complex to an integer. So whenever you whenever you will do something wrong, it will give you some error. Type error is there. Okay, here earlier we did what we did, indentation, right? So here indentation error will come. So these errors, about these errors, whenever you will get, you can Google it and you can get to know more, right? Here they will explain that expected and indented block, right? But it's a technical thing, right? It's written indented block, what it is, right? You can Google it and you can get to know more about it. So these are like very basic stuff. Whichever programming language you want to learn, you have to do. So any questions till now? If anyone has a question, I will try to answer. Okay. Or anyone who is writing with me?
Yes, I am writing with you.
Yeah. So
Why the integer of C is not given? Because
integer
it is
C.
not defined.
Yeah. So can you convert a complex number to an integer, right? Complex is made of two things, right? So
Yes.
you cannot simply say that 4 plus 5j, and if I want to convert it into an integer, it will simply take 4. Here it won't work like this. Okay.
Okay.
So this type of conversion is not possible. Manually will say that it should take 4, but it can't run like this.
So to get the integer value, what should we type?
You have to do some other stuff, right? You can convert it into a string, or which integer you want. You want 4 or 5 or
4.
okay. You can convert it into a, I'm not sure, but can you convert it into a string? If you can convert it into a string, then also it's an option. There are some advanced function you have to search. Okay, maybe I'm not remembering right now, but this thing you can do. Okay, but explicitly, if you simply write like this is not a good, this like this, it can't happen. Okay, so you have to be careful whenever there is some conversion is happening, or you are assigning these values. Okay, so these things, they were mostly about numeric data types. Now we have, you talk about string data type. Here we only have string. Here we don't consider character as a different data type. Okay, string. So let's say you write some particular name, right? Let's say you write a equal to a, you will say hey man. Okay, you again write some other string, b equal to, you're writing the same thing, but you give, let's say you give 2 spaces, you're writing hey, again 2 spaces, man, again 2 spaces. Okay, a and b both are different, right? But here in string, okay, you can consider it when we move forward, we'll come to a list. Okay, so there are many things, many concepts which are similar. Okay, one thing is slicing, okay, or another thing is indexing. Okay, here one thing which I forget to mention about is, which is coming, which we'll see right now. In Python we have indexes, right? Each value is assigned at a particular index. In Python, index start with 0. In some other language, in most of the language, start with 0, but in language like R, it start with 1. Okay, so here if you want to know that in a variable a, which thing will come at index 1, so in a, in index 0 it will be h, index 1 it will be e. So if you run it, it will tell you that e is there, right? Now if you simply write without thinking that now it has like 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, okay, its length is 7. I can also print without saying anything. I can say print the length of a. Okay, this thing also you can write separately without writing print. Maybe it will get lost. What's the length of it? 8. How it is 8? There are 8 characters in it, but 8 it will have 0 to 7, not 1 to 8. Right? Both things are different. So to get the length of a particular string, you have to use len function. Right? These are inbuilt function. You don't have to manually count. I will say 1, 2. It's a small word, so small statement. So you can maybe you can count. But when the things becomes complicated, you will have lots of data. You won't be able to do it manually. So if those inbuilt functions are there, you can use it, right, without having any issue. One more thing is there in Python, which is very advantage. I want to know what's the last index, or what's the value at a last index. So here it also have a return index, reverse index. So here if it is starting with 0, here it is also from last side or from back side it will start at -1. So if I want to know the last index, I can count it something like this: -1, -2, -3, something like this will come. So if I run this, it will simply give me n. Right? You don't need to write a lengthy code to come at a last index and then print this value. You can simply write a which value a has at last index. Right? Here what we are doing, we are simply printing a single index value. Right? Now, but now I want to take a particular part of it. Let's say slicing, which will say I want to print from 0 to 4. Okay, from 0 to 4, what I mean, take the a, slice it from 0 to 4. For the last index, it won't be included. So what things will be included? 0, 1, 2, and 3. So if I simply run it, what it will give? 0, 1, 2, 3. That's it. Last index I want to. Right? Now, reverse thing, you can do the same thing in a reverse way. Right? We can also slice it. It will be the starting index, and it will be ending index. Right? So I can also do like -2 to -5. Okay. So if I do is, it will give me something like this. Okay. -1, -2. Okay. So, but as I told you, if we slice something like this, the last index, it won't be included. It will start from -4, -5, -4, -3. That's it. Only three index value will be there. So, comma, space, and capital, things like this. Now, here some beautiful functions are there. Inbuilt functions are there. You can even Google it. I've been giving you some examples. Okay, so things which are important, or let's say they are used in one way or another. So that's why I'm telling you. Otherwise, we can move on to next topic. Right? So most of you are new. I'm considering it that many of you have never did coding in any other language. So these things, at least you should know all about all this stuff. Okay, let's say I want to convert a into an all uppercase language. So I write a dot upper. Okay, if I run this, okay, these things, they are also getting run, but I am not printing it. That's why these values are getting lost. But here, if I print it, okay, it will convert. Right? Don't need to do it manually. Right? Or here for B, same thing for B. If I want to do this, there are two things. Right? One thing is using these functions. There are two types of function. One which will convert it internally, which will directly convert its value, and in another these function, right? They are converting B to upper one, but you are not saying it to any other variables. Right? You have this value, it got printed, but after printing it will get lost. Right? It is not saved to any other particular memory. So what you can do, okay, you can save it. You can write this particular function. Okay, you can write this particular code and save it in a variable. Let's say C is equal to this. So whenever we'll print C, this value, now this value is saved. So if I run this, the upper part, uppercasing of B variable will be saved in C. Okay, so you can do normal stuff like this. Okay, but now it is printing this. But what if I want to print C also, right? Now you will see only the print statement, they will come in as the output, right? All other code of the line of code, they are also getting run, but they are not saved or they are not printed in output because I'm not printing it explicitly. Right? I'm not written print. So, okay, just a second. Okay. Now, coming that, few things I can do. Let's say in B, right? I have some additional spaces, right? I want to remove all the additional spaces. Let's say you are reading a particular set of data. So many additional spaces are there. You want to remove it. How you can do it? I think strip function is there. From B, name of function is the name, right? Let's see. If I run, if I print it, I need to save it, right? Okay. Now this print statement is there. This print statement is there. So run it. What it did? It has removed additional white spaces. Okay, the spaces which starts before reading a particular line, right? Those spaces which ends like these, it will remove white spaces. Okay, it will remove white spaces, but spaces which comes just before reading the line and just after ending the line, when the line ends. These things are of no use. But these things, if these spaces were also being removed, then I don't know, we have changed the data, right? So here data is the same, but only the space which were taking some space, like with these spaces, they were taking some memory, which is of no use. Okay, when you deal with large set of data, these things are useful to optimize your memory. Okay? Don't want to waste your memory or something like that on things like this. So you can use function like this, right? There is one more function is there. Let's say I want to change in hey man, I want to change wherever A will come, I will change it. I want to replace it. Let's say I want to replace in A dot replace. Here I will say replace E. Okay, I'm replacing E with some particular thing. I can write anything. Let's say replace E with, let's say I. Okay, it's not, it won't be meaningful, but if I want to run this, okay, what it will do, it will simply change wherever E will come, it will change it to I. Okay, so if I run it, so the E which was coming earlier, it is changed it to I, right? Some replace function there, or maybe some additional spaces are there, right? So many times, or maybe some comma is there, right? I want to remove that particular comma, so I can also use things like this, that whenever comma will come, just remove it. Nothing with comma, nothing, right? Null value is there, right? So whenever additional comma will be there, you just replace it. You will see the difference, right? From hey man, here the things got lost, right? Because we have not changed things in A. We have replaced this thing for this particular line of code only, but we have not replaced it in A. If you want to save it, then we have to save it multiple times, right? What we have to do, we have to save this in, let's say in a particular new variable name, let's say D. I will save it in a D, print D, right? In D, we'll replace this, right? So we'll print the same. Okay? If we print the value of A, last one will be there, right? Output will be there. It's the value of A, but I want to print the value of, let's say I will print the value of both A and B. We'll see the difference. Can I do something like this, right? Here value of A got printed. This is the value of D. We did some replacement. All the things which we change in A, we saved it in D. So later on we can continue it and change all these things, right? In a particular variable. Even we could have replace it and saved it in the same variable name A. Okay, this thing also we can do. It depends upon us what we want to do, right? What we want to do. Now, these things are there, these things are there. Okay, one more thing is there. Let's say you want to know at which place, at which index this particular M is coming in A. Okay, so it's of no use for now. You can comment it, you can comment it without any issue, right? Now, I want to print that at which particular index M is coming. So in A, I want to know the index of M. You can write single inverted comma or double inverted comma. There won't be any issue, right? Both will be same. If you write something like this, whenever M will come, give me the index. It is given me 5. It has come at 5th index. But you will say that what if M would have come multiple times after this particular capital M also, some other M would have also come. So this function a dot index, it will give index first time. Whenever M will come first time, it will give the index and then it will stop. It won't give you all the indexes of M, right? You can do the experiment. You can change the name here, right? Capital M and all, right? You can change it, but it won't give you, right? But to do that, you have to write some other, you have to do it in some different way. So for now, we can skip it. No, these things you should do, and these things, string functions are there. Are many other functions. Okay, you should Google it. String functions are there. Okay, you can Google it, and you will get a lot of inbuilt function. You don't have to write a particular line of code to just to define for a particular function. You have to write just to say that okay, do this. So many things are there. So why we say that we want to use this Python and our language? Because there are so many beautiful things which people did in an optimized way, and they saved it as a module or as a library. Okay, as a library they have saved, so you don't have to write it. If you simply want to do some sorting stuff or some complex things, so many things are there. So if a particular library is there for to do that particular thing, then what you can do is you can simply use it, call that particular library and use those functions. Okay, I will simply give an example. This is okay. You can say I want to write import random. Okay, I want to write import random. Oh, okay. In random library, when you Google it, let's say I don't know what all the function it has in random library. What I will do, I will simply Google it, random library in Python. Okay, it will give you some results, right? Let's say you open some document in random library. There are so many things are there. Right? All the methods you can use. Let's say return a random number between the given range. Okay, this rand integer function is there. Okay, so many things are there. So many functions are there inside it. Okay, so whenever I want to, I have already imported this random thing. Okay, now I want to use that particular function, random dot rand integer. Here, if you read correctly, it will say that return a random number between given range. Let's say give me a random integer between 1 to 10. Okay, so we imported this library. When we can even change the name of this particular library name. Random, we can import it as RD or RM, some other name when the things are complex. Okay, and you, instead of writing this thing again and again, you can simply rectify it. You can change to a smaller name, simply R or RM, some smaller name, so that whenever you write dot, you will be able to use all the inbuilt function in it. So now if I run it, it has given me a random integer, right? This in this particular library, it has given me a random integer between 1 to 10. Again, if I run it, will it give me 4? No. You can run it multiple times. again, each and every time it will give you a different integer, right? So in your line of code or in your statement or whichever logic you want to apply at a particular level, this random thing will be important, right? This thing is important. One more thing is there. Let's say, let me say which thing is important. Okay, range is there, right? A random number will give just random dot random. Right? Random dot random function is there. It will give you between 0 to 1. Mostly it will be helpful. Right? Simply if I write random dot random, let's see what it gives. Here it was written that it will give you a value, return a random float number between 0 to 1. Okay, whenever you are doing, you want a random value between 0 to 1, you can simply write, don't need to write a complex code. You can simply write random dot random, that will give you this particular value. You can also give random dot range between 1 to 100 or give a particular range. Okay, range function is there. In range, if you write 1 to 10, you'll get some values. Okay, but if I simply run it, you won't understand what exactly it means. You want to know the range, okay, but you have to write a particular loop to means whenever you will write the loop, okay, then things like this will be helpful. Okay, there are loops we can cover. Loops are there. Okay, mostly two loops we use. One is for loop, one is while loop, right? Mostly we'll use for loop. Let's say in for loop, example of for loop. Okay, in for loop, for I in range of 1 to 10, I press enter, just print the value of I star I or I star means I square. Okay, you can write I star I, you can write I and something like this, some I cap 2. Okay, all these things are there. So let's see what it will give. Okay, 1 to 10. Okay, this is valid syntax. Okay, so what you got, you run a function. Okay, you have run this particular loop. Okay, for I. Okay, I, it has started from 1. Okay, it won't take the last value, right? It will stop just before that. So if you don't specify with how with which number it should increase, it will automatically increase by 1. Okay, so it will take 1 2 to 9, and when you go inside, you are saying that you should do the square of this. Okay, so 1 4 9, all the things you can write. But if I simply change it to 2, will it run? Yes. So here also you are giving a range of 1 to 100, but you are saying increase by 2. So first time when it is coming, it will start with 1, but next time when it comes, it will say that increase its value by 2. By default it is 1, okay? But now change it to 2. So 1 3 5 7 9, and just before that it will stop. Okay, because 9 plus 2 11. So things like this you can do with for loops. There can be nested loops, or all these stuffs are there, which are helpful. Okay, but you have to explore a bit more. Okay, due to constraint of time, I am not giving you many other examples, but here in these loops you can write complex stuff, right? Some complex stuff or some complex equations, right? So when I pass these kinds of input, I want these values, right? Things are there. Now while loop is example is there, I can give, I don't remember syntax, but okay, let me give it a try. While loop, okay. Okay, I can also give example of while loops, right? Okay, so let me give you example of while loops. While loops, okay. Now there are two types of loops, right? first one is for loop and the second one is while loop. In for loop, you know a starting point, you know the ending point. You don't know what is in between. You know the range. You know in for loop that how many times it will run. It can run 5 times, it can run 10 times, but you know. But when you don't know, or you don't want to specify, you can use while loop. But in while loop, what you have to do, you have to be very careful when you use while loop, because this while loop, it can, if you don't give an end condition to it, it will run infinite and your code will stop, because it will run it hundreds and thousands of lakhs of time. When your memory gets full, then your program will stop. So in while loop, while using while loop, you have to be careful with end statement. Why I'm meaning that you will give some condition, and when this particular condition, if this condition won't be arrived, then your loop will run for infinity, means till the time your memory gets full. Okay, so let's say you simply want to run a loop, I equal to 1. I want to run a loop when value of I less than 5. It's a condition. It's a condition we are giving to run this particular loop. I is less than 5. Okay, we are taking care of indentation, right? So while I is less than 5, I can print the value of I. Right? I can print the value of I. Again, I can use multiple lines, and whenever it will go back again to I will change it. I will say that increase its value by 1. Okay, so first the initial value of I is 1. It came here. It will say, is I less than 5? Yes. Okay, print the value of I. It will print 1. And I am saying I plus equal to 1. This I plus equal to 1, this is same as writing I equal to I plus 1. Okay, so just to save time, or it's also an advice, it's not advisable, but if you're good with writing these things, you can simply write I plus equal to 1. This is same as I equal to I plus 1. You can write something like this. You can write I star or some other expressions. Okay, these expressions, they are valid. Okay, it will automatically know what you are trying to tell. So here, if you run this, see, it will run from 1, 2, 3, 4. When the end statement comes, the value of I is 5, then it is stopped. Okay. Because why it is stopped? Because the end condition has come. So if this end condition would not have come, okay, then we would have been problem. Okay, if I would simply written I equal to, let's say 1.5, something like this. If I simply write I equal to 1.5, and if I run it, this statement, this particular statement, conditional statement, this thing would not have arrived. Then it would have run for infinite time. Then you have to stop the content. It will say it has run for infinity, something like this. So you have to be careful when you write, when you use while loops, and when you give end statements. It's not like 100% of the time you will be sure that this end condition will arrive. So if your willpower is strong, or let's say you are ready to take risk, or you know that this condition will arrive, then you should use while loop. Otherwise, for loop is fine. It takes less memory and lesser number of time you can use. But when you don't know how many times you have to run, then you can use while loop, right? And here also some few things are also there. Some break statement is also there. Some continuous statement is there, but they don't come much in use mostly. So I'm not skipping that, but you should be aware of while using these two loops. Okay. Now, one thing I should have taught you earlier, which was if else function. Okay? We have already used it, but you don't know.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
I can't seem to run this while command.
This while command.
Yeah.
What have you written?
When I'm running it, no output is being shown.
Have you written print?
Yeah, I have written everything.
Wait, just a second. Can you share your screen or
Yeah.
what thing you had written? Just text me.
I'll just share.
Yeah, you can text in the chat. Which thing you have written? You can in chat also. You
Just
can.
1 minute.
Yeah. Yeah. Just copy paste it. This thing you have written. Anyone else who is not able to run while loop?
Sir, can you show for while loop once?
For loop or for while loop? Which loop?
Yeah.
For loop.
Yeah.
Were you able to
Just-
run? Were you able to run
Right.
this? You can. Okay, let me check. She is written. And I plus equal to 1. So what problem you are having with this? You're not able to run this.
Yeah, when I'm running, nothing is, no output is being shown.
What you have written is correct. Maybe or maybe your terminal, it has disconnected. Okay, local server. So you may be facing some issue. To do that, just a second. How can I let you share this your screen? Okay, just a second. Can you share now? Is it showing? Can you?
Just 1 sec.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can.
Please share.
Is it visible?
No, it's not visible to me. Just a second. Now, please show once. Try once again.
Can you see?
I can't see yours. Okay, let me stop my screen. Now you please share. Now I can see. See your
Okay.
See
So
what
this
you are
is just-
doing. It's a very common error. Run it. Okay. I equal to 1. Okay. Where is your show me?
I equal to 1 indentation is not proper. Maybe.
Sorry.
I equal to 1 indentation may be not proper.
No. It is correct. Show me your Jupyter. No, go just below. There will be some Jupyter like. When
This
Jupyter
one?
will be there. Yeah, open the
They have
Jupyter.
given print
Jupyter
1.
terminal. Open Jupyter terminal.
They have print 1.
No,
She
she
has
is not.
print.
She has printed 1. She has printed I.
So, sorry, which is Jupyter terminal? Can you please tell me?
Jupyter terminal. This is Jupyter notebook. Okay. When you click, this is like it's a web tab, right? It is open in a
Yeah,
browser. It's a
so
browser. Okay. Just
so
click
that
on.
black color screen, which has, is it what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Just hold
Can
on.
you
Yes,
share
you can
this?
just restart it.
Or you can restart. You can share your entire screen. We'll see what problem you are facing. Maybe you're mostly because of your terminal is disconnected. Okay. If your
This
local
is what
server
you're talking about.
come down at the end. Okay, it's untitled. Okay, go back to that particular tab browser.
I just need to stop.
Share your entire screen. Otherwise,
Yeah, can you see now?
no. Now click on kernel here. Click on kernel. Click restart and clear output. Restart and clear output. Yes, restart. Now run this particular line of code.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Thank
Sometimes,
you.
yeah, when there is some it's local server. Okay, I told you like it's a local server. If it gets disconnected, you won't be able to run your particular code. It is showing that it is running, but it is not running. Right?
Okay, thank you.
Any else who is welcome. Anyone else who is facing issue? For loop, there was one person who was saying that he is facing issue, right? Is it resolved?
Yeah, it is clear. It is clear.
Yeah, it is clear now. So I can
Yeah.
start. Okay, I will share my screen then. Okay. At any particular point of time, if you say I should stop or go a bit slow, then I will do that. Okay, so don't worry. Now I will use if else. Right? I should have used earlier, but okay. If else, yeah, I think it's fine. Now here, if else function or this thing is used whenever you want to use logical conditions, right? Logical condition or logical statements. You want to say that A is equal to B, okay? Or you want to say that A is not equal to B, both things. Or you want to say that the value of A is less than B, right? These things can come. Or you can say, I'm just writing hash to comment it, right? Because there is no logic in all this thing, right? Or if you want to say A is greater than B, okay. Or you can also write A is greater than equal to B, something like this. These kind of logical statements, if you want to check it, or if you want to give some conditions, then you can use if else function. Else is not compulsory. You can simply write if, okay. There can be if else, if else, if else, if else, if then else. These things can also be there when multiple conditional statements need to be checked. Let's say you are writing A equal to 3, B equal to 10. Okay, you want to check if A is greater than B, if A is greater than, I'm pressing enter, okay, and I am writing, what should I print? If A is greater than B, in this condition, I have to say that A is greater than B, right? If I run it, it has not given me anything, right? Because why? Because A is not greater than B, right? But if I simply want to check if B is greater than A, then print B is greater than A, right? If I do this, it will give me like this. But now, what would have happened if I kept this condition? I won't check all the time A is greater than B is greater than A, right? But I can do all these things in a single line of code. If else, right? What's the logical thing can happen? If A is greater than B, then this thing can happen. Else, all the condition. Do you think it is correct? Do you think it is correct? If A is greater than B, then this thing should come. But if B, what's the condition which got left? It's not that always B can, yeah, A and B
equal to B.
both in, yeah, A equal to B. So if this thing would have been there, this would have told me the same thing. So our logic is at fault, right? So before checking this statement, what the meaning of this is that we have written all the conditions, right? Now no other condition left. All the conditions which will be left, and that condition B is greater than A. So here you have to write one other thing, else if, right? In else if, it can also happen that A equal to B, right? All the conditions, okay. When you are writing this kind of conditional statement, you have to be very careful with your logic, okay. Code will do its work, okay, but your brain behind it, and if you don't write your code properly or don't give a proper logic, code will run, but you don't know, you will say that this is wrong. Code is never wrong, okay, you are wrong. Okay, so if I run this, okay, text for else if I think else if some, okay, I'm forgetting the syntax. Anyone who can remember? Elif, okay, good. I want to see anyone is okay. So good, thank you. So if I run this, Again, it is giving me error. Okay, A equal to B. It's not a conditional statement. It should, what I have written, it's A equal to B, right? A equal to B, it's not a conditional statement. A equal to B, it's a conditional statement. Now it will run. A is equal to B. So I cannot write if A equal to B. I have to write A equal to B. These are conditional statements, all the conditional statements, okay, logical statements. A equal to B is not a conditional statement. Right? A equal to B is. So remember this. Okay. Even after doing all this stuff, I may forget things, you may forget things, but logics you can remember, right? So this thing is there. Now this thing is there, this thing is there. These things I have covered, right? So I have covered all this basic stuff. Now we can move on to one advanced stuff, which is array, or what can I say, list. Okay, so here list. Okay, list, it's about collection of data. Okay, whenever you read something, you have to assign, right? It's not like all the data which will read, it will be an individual data, right? It will be a collection of data, collection of, if you read an Excel, it will be a collection of rows or columns. You know? Some data will be there, everything, all the data will be there in multiple columns. So for a particular column, it can be a list, right? It can become a list. Or in list also, the 2D, 3D, if you go on, then you can have multiple things. So if I start with list, okay, I told you earlier that the same things which you used for strings, you can also use it for list. So list, it is a collection of data, right? So what things it can have? It can be, this is a collection of data, right? It's an ordered data. Ordered data means their index is fixed. It start from 0 and goes on. Okay, it's a ordered data. Can we change the data? Means at any given time, if this particular list, it contains five data. Okay, it contains 5 data points. We can change a particular data point. Okay, spelling is wrong. Okay, fine. Okay, we can change a particular item. Okay, I will come to that. We can change a particular item of the list. Okay, it's a changeable data. Can it allow duplicate values? Yes. Okay, it allows duplicate values. What it means, that list can be a collection of 5 data points of all the values which has value of 5. Okay, this can also be done. Okay, so these 4 things, okay, these are, if a particular data type, okay, a particular data, it can be done like this, then it will be a list. Okay, there are 3 other data types. Means it's a collection of data. It can be a list. Okay, what I have written is for list. Okay, or collection of data. Okay, what other things are there except list? It can be a set, tuple, uple, and the last one is dictionary. Okay, today I think I will be able to cover list only, but in all 3 other data types, they have some or different characteristic. Let's say set, they are not ordered. Okay, every time you will say that print set, it will give you some random order. Okay, so the order is not fixed. In tuple, it has some different properties. In dictionary, they have key and values. So here in these things, in list we have an index 0, 1, 2, 3, but here in index there can be a particular name. So if you want to open a particular lock, you need a particular key. Okay, so all the values, you will have multiple values, but for all the values you will have different keys, different key name. You can give it those key name to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's up to you. Mostly it won't be 0, 1, 2. There will be some specific name, some city name, and then some other stuff, maybe fruit name, some other thing. Anything can come in keys. Okay, key can be of consist of anything. So here I will mostly be discussing list. This thing I might discuss tomorrow. Okay, but if you understand this, you can also understand this, but you just have to understand the difference. Okay, list we usually write like this. Okay, and dictionary, okay, couple everything will come. They will have value like this. Okay, when we assign it, you will get to know the difference in it. Okay, for now you can skip it. Okay, and so list. Now coming to the list. First we'll discuss list. Okay, now what is a list? It's a collection of data, right? And it can be changed, right? Let's say I want to save a particular list. I want to give it a name. This is my list. You can give any other name. This is camel casing, right? There are two words. First one starts with small letter, and the all the other words, right? They will start with capital letters. This is camel casing I'm using. Okay, it's my practice. You can use any other format, but you should use some standard format so that your code will become, it won't look some rubbish and everything, right? It should look good enough to read. Anyone can read it. Okay, I want to make a list. Okay, it is consisting of A, B, comma, inverted comma, C, something like this, D, E, and F. Okay, they think this is enough. D, E. Is it enough? Okay, it's enough. Okay. Now it's my list. If I simply run it, it will save this particular list in this my list. Okay, now I have not said that this is a list, right? But can I know the type of this particular my list? I have said that make this variable name this, but if I run this, it will say what's the data type? It's a list. Okay, I can print it. Now one thing I also told that this functions, okay, there are some similarities between string and list function. You can use len function, length, to know the length of my list. It can simply print length. Okay, here I can also write something like this. So in print we can give multiple statement also, right? Earlier I was simply giving this thing, right? It's a string, so we don't need to do anything, right? It can simply say, okay, it's length, it's a string, it will simply print. Now again it will go to this particular print. What it wants, it's want the length of my list, it will print that particular thing. So when you do like this, you can even save it for later purpose, but in print it should be logical, that what exactly is code print. I will forget. If I write multiple print statements, I won't be able to count what is list, what is the length, and what is particular index. But I can write just before it or after it that what exactly it gave, right? It gives length, right? It gives me length. Now this is for the list. Okay, now I want to create another list. Okay. What kind of list I want? I want to have a list which contains A, which contains of 4, and one thing which I have not mentioned here, Boolean function. You can write true or false also. Okay, true and false. Okay, now this list, okay, this is of single data type. They are all consisting of single data type and string. But here we have string, we have integer or maybe float. I don't know. I have not specified it, but mostly it will take. Let's see what it will take. But here it's a Boolean data type. This will also be list. Okay, this will also be a list. If I run this, it won't give. Will it give me error? It has not given me any error. By simply print it, it will give me the values which are inside my list. If I simply want to type the data type of this particular list, it will also give me a list also. So that's why I told it allows, means it can contain multiple data types. It's not like list will be of single data type. You cannot create a list with some data points will be in integer, some data point will be in string. You can create list like this. So there won't be any issue. Now this thing is there, right? So this is my first list. Okay. What can I do with list, right? What can I do? I can perform some basic operations, right? What can I do this? Okay, I want to slice it. Right? I told you how you can slice it. Let's say my list. What you will do? Slice it, right? Third bracket, right? This bracket, square bracket, you will give. Now you know the length, right? Length is 5. It means it has index from 0 to 4. So if you want to access an individual item, it will give me B. Okay? Or if you want to access a particular set of data from 1 to 4, index 1, 2, and 3, it will give me something like this. No, these things I can do, right? These things I showed you in string function also. Right? Let's say I want to do another thing. I want to say that my list, can I do it like this? -1, it will give me E, right? Something like this. If I say give me between -4 to -2, what it will print? Anyone? If I want to print this, my list -4 to -2. Okay.
BCD.
What? Repeat, please. BCD.
BCD.
BCD. But I told you that this last index, it won't be covered. It will be only -4, -3. See, B and C. Okay, you forgot, but yeah, that's why I was asking. So these are like basic stuff. Mostly last index, it won't be covered whenever you write. Even in that range function, right? So I have written range of 1 to 10. It covered first index, it covered first value, it covered, but the last value it did not cover. So at most of the places, when you write something like this thing won't be covered. So you have to be careful. But what if I want to do? I want to write the same list. Okay, it should. I want to have a list. Okay, maybe it has the data point it has is 100, but I want to print last 3 value. Last 3, what it can have? -3, -2, -1. Okay, and I don't want to write anything here. Will it print? You see, it will also print. It will give me the last 3 values. Okay, if you don't write anything, it will take the extreme value. Right? Here, if you have skipped this, and here if you have written 3, then here you have it would have come the extreme value from which it can start. It will start from the start itself. I have not given any point. It means it won't stop. These are the things. Okay, so these are very basic index stuff which you can do with the list. Now this is a list, right? What I want to do, I told you it's a changeable data set, right? So what we can do, we can add the data or delete the data. Okay? It's possible. So with my list, okay, I want to insert the data. Insert. Okay, dot insert is a function. What I want to insert? I want to insert, let's say f is not there, right? I want to insert f at a particular index. Okay, I have written index 2. So currently it is index from 0 to 4, but at index 2, this is 0 index, this is first index, this is second index. If I insert this particular value at second index, what will happen to the rest? Right? It cannot, it means at a single index there cannot be multiple values. So these things, they will just move on to next place. So after doing this, if I print, okay, if I print the value of my list, is inserted f to the list, right? And here this insert function, okay, this will insert these value to the list. I don't need to store it. Okay, I told you there are two types of function. One, in those kind of inbuilt function, it will change the value. Okay, in other set of things, you have to save it in some other stuff. So here in insert, you don't need to save it in another list. Okay, it is already inserted. Now if I have to write again, okay, I want to this particular list. Now this is my list, right? This consists of these things. I want to add something. I don't know what is the length, okay, but I want to add this particular letter h, this particular string. So when I write append, it will add this to the end. So this my list dot append, if I run this, and if I print after running this, if I run my list, will add this h to the end. Okay, so this thing is there. You can also add a list to another list. Okay, now if I do this, what will happen? We have two lists, right? This list is there, this list. Can we add these two lists? Or this is my list, right? Its name is changed to, okay, this is the value of my list. Okay, I want to add these value to it. So I can add, or I can extend the list. Okay, I think this should work. What I have to write? My list dot extend, and the name of second list. What's the name? My list 2. Okay, simply write like this, and then if I print my list, okay, I have extended the list. If I print it till here, this was my list. Now I have extended the list. What value it contains? It has added all these value to the end. Okay, so these are the things you can do. Now what we did, we have inserted the values on a particular list, in a particular list. Can we delete it? Can we delete the data? Yes. How can we do? There are two functions. One is the my list dot remove. Okay, if I give remove, I give a particular name, let's say D. D is there, right? If I run this, it will remove the value of D from the list. Okay, and if I print it, I will get to know about my list, right? See, whenever D will come at the first time, it will get deleted. The same thing which we did for append, same thing can be done as pop. Okay, when we write pop, okay, just do this, copy paste. Instead of remove, you just write, instead of append, write pop. Pop means you have to delete. Oh, from where it will get deleted? It will get deleted at the end. If I run this, the last value, it will get popped. Okay, when append is there, the opposite of append is, you can say, in append we are adding at the end, in pop we are removing at the end. Right? When you use remove function, there is some another function from, I guess you can delete at a particular index. Okay, so you may have to check, or for now exactly I am not able to remember the syntax, but these things are there in the list. Okay, now can you do this? Is like a list. Okay, you think it's a different kind of list. We cannot do much function, right? So consisting of multiple functions. But what if we have a list like this? List like this consists of.
So I have a question here, Gaurav.
Yeah. Yes.
So in this remove statement, if can you put A there? I mean, since we have two A's there, so which A it will remove?
Here you want to remove A.
Yes.
Okay. As of now, just for your, if this thing statement was there, right? This is the last thing which we have done. Okay. Now you are saying remove A. Okay. Remove A. Which thing it will remove? Just guess.
Yes.
Yeah, you are curious, right? So if you
Yeah.
run this, I told you only the first time whenever A will come, it will remove. It won't remove each and every place whenever A will come, right? So to do this, you have to write. If you want to remove each place whenever A is coming, so you have to write it in a loop. Okay, that travels from first to last, or maybe till a statement you have to write. A loop you have to write till जब तक A रहेगा लिस्ट में तब तक ये लूप चलता रहे. मीन्स you have to continue the traversing through the list till A is there. Something like this you have to do, or maybe you have to remove. You can write a conditional statement or something like this. This you have to do if you want to remove each and every place whenever A is coming, because this particular function it will only remove whenever A is coming at the first place.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah. Now I am creating another list, my number list. Okay, I've given a name. This list is there. This is my list. Okay, this is my list. Now this thing, I think we are about to end. Okay, just 5 more minutes. Fine, 5 more minutes.
Why do we have these ticks if we have this number list? Shouldn't it be 11, 31, or do we need to have these quotes?
Okay, the quotes. Okay, see, now that's the thing. That's smart. Think if I write it inside a comma, it will become a string, right? We'll take it as a string, and we won't be able to do the function. We do the anything which I want to do. Now, if I write something like this, it's good. It's good thing that you pointed out. Now this is my list. Okay. Now I want to do some stuff in this. Okay. Can I sort my list? I can sort it using sort function. Okay. I have to write the name of the list. Okay. My number list dot sort. If I simply write like this, let's say I don't remember, okay, what it will do. Let's say I've written this sort function. Do I need to save it to another list to save this, or it will simply sort this particular list itself? So after doing this sorting, okay, by default the value of it will be like an increasing list. Okay, from the smallest one will come first, okay, by default. But if I run this, see, this is such kind of function which will change it in the original list. Okay, so if you are writing this particular sort, it is sorted in the original list, but here you don't want go from the lowest one to highest one. What you can do, you can change it, reverse REVER, is it correct? Reverse equal to true. I'm not correct, I'm sure, but let me check. Give me some error. REVE equal to not true. You have to give equal to. Okay, okay. It's not condition true. Now it will. Okay. So you also did the sorting, but in the decremental order, right? The highest one came first, the lowest one came the last. So the same function by default, reverse equal to false means it will go from less to high. So these things you can do. You can simply write means this was your list, right? Let's say this was your last my list. What was your list? Okay, this was your list. Right? What if you simply want to reverse it? Or ERSC, I think this function will also come. So not print dot reverse, my list dot reverse. My list dot reverse. I think this function is there. No. But has it reversed it? It has not reversed it, right? So B2, I may have to save it to another list. List for any name, any other name. List to new. Equal to this. Okay, sorry. No, this was the name of the list. It's in my list. This is my list, and I have reversed it. Now I have to print it. So, my list dot reverse. Print my list to my list. Okay, it is returning none. Yeah, this reverse function also, all these functions which are in list, mostly, I'm not sure about all, but mostly they will change it to original list. This was my original list, right? B, F, C, F. Before using this particular line of code or this particular function, this was my list. Now when I did the reverse, okay, I have not saved it, right? But what it will do, it will save this particular thing to the original list. That's why it was giving none earlier, because if I save it to a particular variable, it will give me none. You don't need to do save and all each and everything. So if I simply print this, it will reverse this particular list. So these were all the basic functions, or maybe most important function for a list. Same function, same kind of function will be there for sets, tuple, and dictionary. Okay, I will start with them. We'll give you some particular demo of them in the start tomorrow, and then we'll move out. We may move on to numpy function, panda function, and all. Okay. I think.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Like earlier we were doing the problems. We could club print with another function, right?
Right. Yeah.
But can we club the print with my list reverse here?
You want to print here. Here itself, you want to write print, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You can write. Okay. We'll check. Okay. Now, this is my current list. Okay. Now the original value is changed to this. Okay. This is our list. Okay. I am not printing my list. I'm simply, this is my current list. This is the value of this, right?
Yeah.
You will get confused. Okay. I don't want to confuse you. Whichever latest value of my list will be there, it will print this, then you are saying you are reversed. Okay.
Yes.
See, it will give you none. Because
so why are we getting none?
None, because a function is there. Okay, whenever a function is being called, it will do something. Okay, it will do some stuff. Now some function will return you something, and some function will return you nothing. So whenever this particular sort function, reverse function, they are getting called, they are changing this to the original list. So whenever this change happen in the original list, you are not changing it. You don't need to pass it on. Okay, because it is automatically gets saved in the original list itself. So here it is changing in the original list. Now you don't need to save it. Okay, it is getting saved automatically. So here these functions, whenever they change it in the original function, they don't need to return anything, right? You don't need to save it. It is getting saved. But just in case some functions were there, which I told you earlier, right? So which they were not changing in the original function, right? We did earlier, right? In what? In string functions, I think we did, right? In string function, yes. Here, these things, they were not changing in the original function. So you have to save it explicitly, right? That's why we are saying yes. So all the functions are right, but just you have to be careful that which function is doing what thing. Okay, if they are saving it in the original values, then it's fine. But if they are not saving, then you may have to save it. You have to give a different variable name, then you have to do it. Okay, I think that's all for today.
Thank you.
Okay, I think I will try. I will share it. Can I share it or cloud also? Just a second. Okay, we'll share it. Share it. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you. If anyone have any questions, they can ask me or they can ask tomorrow also. because tomorrow I think at 2:15, which time? At 2 p.m. I will be taking another class. We'll traverse through advanced functions, maybe some importing the data or NumPy function and Panda function will do. Okay, and then the next class will be there. Okay, so if you have any doubt, please ask, or you can ask tomorrow also. Okay,
How to save it?
how to save it? No? Okay, I should not have stopped. You can simply say Control S, or this function is there, save and checkpoint. Can you see?
Okay.
Yes, you can save it and do checkpoint, or you can simply write, say Control S. Okay, this thing is there. Otherwise, mostly it is auto saved. If it is shown auto set to you, then it is saved automatically. You don't need to do anything. Okay, there.
But if we run in the site, like in a browser,
Yeah, it will mostly it will get saved automatically. Whatever thing you do, that's the advantage of using this notebook. If you forget to save, but if you are running this, whenever you run this, see here it is not mentioned, but whenever you are running a particular thing, it is getting saved, then it will get run. Okay, you cannot run. It is not like you are running anything which is not saved. First, this code need to be saved in our file or in the memory. Then it will run. That's why these things which are here for save, you have to use this when you want to do it explicitly. Let's say you want to save it. Otherwise, here save function would have been there, but here save function is there with checkpoint. Then if I want to write this save and checkpoint, it will create a checkpoint. So whenever in future I want to come back here at the end of this particular day, or whenever after means whenever I want to come back to a particular checkpoint, then I can use this. Right? Otherwise, save function will there, it will say automatically. I have not created any checkpoint. Then I have run the code, I have written so many things, I got lost. But I don't know till which point my code was working. So, if I would have created a checkpoint, let's say up to 70% of the time, till 70% was working, then I only have to do debugging for the rest of the part, right? Something like this. That's why this save and all these things, they are important. When you write a simple code, it won't be much helpful or so much of importance to you, but you should know all this basic stuff, right? Okay, thank you everyone. I think I am stopping the recording.